All right, welcome back. Episode 204. Today is just me and Kelderman. Brian is at a training to better himself and better his life. Yep. But today, there's a couple of things, right? You know, the hardest thing about this darn show is coming up with a catchy title.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think we spent it's 3:15 right now. We're 15 minutes late, and
Probably doing really good with that.
We've been doing great, and at the same time, this one here really stumped us because there's a couple things that we wanted to talk about. We didn't want to bring up the NAR lawsuit just this moment. That's again, that it's been a hot topic, and there's another thing about Redfin and dropping their salaried employees. That is like, don't really want to talk about that. But what we are noticing right now is a lot of agents, look, their business is affected right now. And we're going to share some things and kind of talk about what Matt and I have been chatting about a lot of, helping, set our businesses up for success and winning here over the next 90 days and put ourselves in a good 2024. But before we do that, are you ready, Jesse, to support our sponsors?
I 100% am.
Yeah. So today's show is brought to you by Mortgage Mike. Right? If you want that Mortgage Mike stamp of approval, which we all do. Who doesn't want to have a stamp of approval? Who doesn't want to get this expensive money? Thanks for laying out on me.
I didn't lay out on him. The way he just looked at me when he's like, he doesn't want this expensive money. I was like, wait a minute. Are we just saying whatever today? And I got really nervous. And then he was just staring at me.
We just said how we're comfortable on lives. And you're like, oh,
I did.
I know. But no, his money is not as expensive as everyone else's.
No.
He's got the better priced expensive loans, right? Which is what we all want. So all you need to do to go support Mortgage Mike and talk to him about getting that Mortgage Mike stamp approval is go to MMG Loans. That's mortgagemikegrouploans.com. So mmgloans.com. And tell them that the crew from the Only Real Estate Podcast Worth Listening To sent you. And then when you're done with that and you're writing up that offer, go and talk to Theron Smith.
Watching right now.
Yep, he's the Facebook user profile.
Yeah,
this is no NAR policies. And why he's not supporting NAR right now, because he's over there building domes around houses to give him that hard shell protection on home warranties. So you need to support Armadillo Home Warranties, armadillo.1/TOR, TORE.
I could have used some hard shell protection on my truck this weekend because we took a trip and a deer ran into us, and I needed Theron to have auto insurance that day.
Yeah,
because there's still
deer.
You don't have deer for
because you're not carrying auto insurance.
No, we still got it, but I don't think we're going to use it. But also the tire started letting out air. It was a disaster.
Yeah. And then our last two awesome sponsors, Dana Wynn at Homeward DFW. Right now, with the way this market is, we're starting to see a lot more homeowners opening up and talking about, hey, I want to rent my house out. Kelderman was in our office yesterday, and we were calling a lot of for rent by owners.
Yeah.
And those people are struggling, and they need help renting their darn house out. So send them over to Dana Wynn, Homeward DFW. Just go to homewarddfw.com, and she'll take care of them. She's slinging leases left and right.
All over the place. She was just in there slinging them.
Yeah, she's great to work with. She manages all my properties, so she does a great job. And you want a show like this because you want to be the expert when it comes to real estate, and you want your sphere. You want those leads to see you as a celebrity, like we are.
Right. Yeah.
I look at Kelderman. I'm like, man, that dude's a celebrity.
Can't believe I get to hang out with this guy.
Yeah,
it's unreal.
Yeah, just go to tourstudios.com.
I did. I got mine back today. I'm really excited to pass mine on to my client. I told you guys I was using Tour Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Sir.
So I came in and shot some completely different content, and I'm going to be doing some more of it too.
OnlyFans?
Yes, OnlyFans. Yes. So make sure you wipe down the seats. But no, it's really cool, and I'm excited to watch it. I just got it in my inbox. I haven't had a chance to check it out.
Love it. So I can't wait to see that. I mean, you can go on Matt's page and see his awesome video about, I guess daylight savings time is gone.
It's gone.
That's new to me.
So this November, we do not fall back.
Yeah.
Like we're done with that for a while, which I don't know how I feel
done
about
with that for a while.
Like,
so it could come back.
Well, we voted it. So look right there. Done. Right.
No.
Yeah.
Is it?
Daylight savings time. Is it ending? Jesse's Googling his background. But anyways, this was one of those, you were talking about the video part though. Why Jesse looks this up to fact check me to see if I'm wrong or not. But is it going forward? Is it going away?
I think you should put ending.
Yeah.
Without new movement,
Oh, okay. It is changing into
Yeah,
2024.
So we got one more of
all right,
being able to say.
I don't know what the hell's happening, but anyways, which is good. Then I shared it. I just reminded everybody. I don't know if it's November 3rd, but this was one of those things that this is as good a place to start as any. When about 4 years ago, Brian and I were so annoyed by all of the type of just generic content that we got, so we decided to like, what kind of corny shit do realtors like send out that isn't really necessary anymore? And one of them was the turn back your clock email, right? Like we're just like those generic emails that like market leader will send for you, right, or whatever. And then the recipes, like the holiday recipe type stuff. You start getting those this time of year. So we're like, let's shoot video on both of those. And I got to be honest with you, it's two of the best videos we ever did.
100%.
The turning back the clock video is corny, but I'm proud of it. The freaking pie video is one of the funniest damn things I have ever been a part of in my life.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. When you guys made that and shot that, my jealousy factor shot through the roof, right? Because I'm like, first off, it was so great and so creative and so well done. I'm like, man, we've been doing video, but they just killed us. Like they're gonna be swimming in business.
Yeah.
And I was so jealous of it. And the fact is, when it gives you an opportunity to reshare it over and over and over again. Even right now, it's still reusable content, whether it's November 5th or it's going away, it doesn't matter. And like the one with the recipes where you're just making this shit, and
the most terrible pumpkin pie, which the best part about that video is the lead into it is me actually eating the pie that we made. Because in the video, if you watch it, there's a fake real pumpkin pie that gets pulled out from a freezer essentially. But I ate all the crap that we put in there, and it was the most disgusting thing. And I was talking to Jesse about this because it's a testament, and I love that we're kind of reminiscent about it. It's a testament to sticking with stuff, because I will also say that there was a lot of video content during that time, and because it worked so well, we actually went away from it, right? Like those videos worked so well that they attracted people into our world, that they attracted more business in, they attracted agents in, that we got too big and then walked back all the shit that it got us there. And I think that's a huge testament to what agents are experiencing right now. The market has been so simple, right? Things have been so different the way they've normally been, or you've only lived in this market, right? Because so many agents are less than 2 years old anyways, as far as in the market.
Yeah.
And then it changes on you, and you don't know what to do, or the stuff that you used to do before this would work if you would go back to it. That's where I'm stuck right now. I know what works in this market. I've got to humble myself enough to start doing it again.
Right. And here's I go back and forth with this mindset, right? Where I've seen people, and I've been guilty of this, of saying, you know what, I'm not going to listen to the news. I'm not going to listen to the media of what they're saying, of how, things getting bad. Right now, they're actually not saying, other than inflation's high and interest rates are high. We're not hearing that technically we're in a recession. They've yet to call it that. But I'm like, all right, I know what to do. I've been through it. I built my business in during the Great Recession. And here I'm starting to, there's some days where I'm like, oh my gosh, there's some fear that's deep in the belly on this one. And I'm like, where's this coming from? And the way that I see it is like, we're starting to see a lot of these agents, that were doing really well. And now all of a sudden their business has hit the wall. They can't figure out how to get past it or to get any type of traction. And the last 3 years, let's be real, like money was so easy and money was so cheap that you didn't have to have any skill.
Yeah.
You felt like you were doing a lot of work, and with that work came what? Reward.
Yep.
Right now, we talked about this at lunch, and I'm like, I remember how hard I worked during the 2008 up to 2012, and really a little bit past that. And I'm like, now I'm 40 years old, got a family. I feel worn out. I'm tired just after the last COVID and 3 years of just kind of navigating that. And I'm like, do I feel that I have enough energy and gas in the tank to put that same amount of effort in that I did in 2008? And I know a lot of people feeling that way right now, which is, I feel like I'm busting my ass. I'm feeling like I'm giving 100%. I don't see how I can pull an extra 10% out.
Well, and to shout him out, since he's not here, this is one of the things that we talked about, but even I remember specifically Brian saying is that we are at the point in the market where for even really good agents, it's difficult, because for the consumer, in many cases, this market just isn't one that makes a lot of sense to play in, right? You threw out a stat that said in 2008 we sold 4.2 million houses, right? And we're almost, this year's looking like it's trending exactly to the same thing as 2008.
Yeah,
right?
I sent it to Jesse. So in 2008 it was 4.1, I believe. Is that what it says, Jesse?
I can't tell. It's so small.
Yeah, here it is. It was 4.12 million sales in 2008, and that was the since 2006. So let's see here. That was the lowest point during that time. The estimated end of year this year home sales is going to be right around 4.1 or less.
So, like, and where I'm glad we threw that stat out, but where I was going with that is I watched you yesterday, somebody who I think is highly skilled on the phone, right? Navigating your way through conversations. It is a hard market for everyone because the consumer doesn't have a ton of reason to engage in this unless life circumstance, right? And so that's taken a ton of opportunity off the board. And we're seeing it in agents leaving. We're seeing it in the line of agents' questions. We're seeing it in the fear. I told you I left the majority of these large groups a couple of weeks ago because the fear jibba-jabbing was just wearing me out, right?
Yeah, and I agree that the Facebook groups are the place. It's kind of like
an echo chamber of negativity, bro.
It's like the Nextdoor app.
It is, and I would encourage people. Part of my advice also is stop listening to a bunch of unqualified people talk about a crystal ball they don't own, right? Like in those groups, what tends to happen to me is I see somebody post something and I see other people post it and I'm like, oh my God, is my dumb head just not smart enough to understand that this is the biggest problem that has ever faced real estate? And I'm the only idiot who is not scared right now. So then what do? I completely freaking overreact and go the other way, read everything in the comment section, and then I become the person who is the most scared, right? When in actuality, it's probably neither, right?
Yeah.
Like you're going to probably be okay.
Yep.
And it's also probably going to be difficult, right? Like, and so I just turned all of that noise off and started talking to the people that I trust and are in my life that can affect me, you and Jesse and Brian and the people that I do business with. And I would encourage a lot of you to maybe do some of that too.
Well, I do remember, like, again, back in, I'm going to go back to 08, 09, 10 range. And I had a group that every Tuesday we would go to happy hour, but we called it group therapy.
Sure.
And it was a place where, we weren't fearful or scared. And maybe that was just youthful, not, being naive. But I also, at that time, that's just the way the market was.
I know some people that were in that group. If you told me a name, they weren't youthful people. They had reason to be scared, and they were, you know what I mean?
But we were all navigating those times, and what was happening then is, again, you had high unemployment rates, and the lending guidelines were so tight that there were still home sales happening, and there's still home sales happening here. So it's like, there's a time when you get in your own head that you kind of, catastrophize it and really, really, get to a worst case scenario. And you think that worst case is the only thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like your business is going to go to zero. And while that could be the case, if you just stop working, I do have a secondary plan for that, but it's a whole nother conversation about building residual income. But if you were to make phone calls, or if you were to start looking at where the market's going and saying, all right, money changes hands when problems are solved. And I have to keep saying that over and over and over again and say, there is opportunity in this market right now.
Yep.
Right. We have to go search for it. Okay. There's going to be 4.1 million, sides, or maybe a little bit less of sales happening, which is going to be similar to 2008. 2009, 10, 11, that's when I built a massive, business, that grew from there, knowing what I know now and saying, all right, if this were truly, if we believe this is the bottom, because if it gets worse than less than 4 million, then people are just staying put.
Yeah, I would think so. Right. Like it was encouraging to me when you brought up that stat. And this is one of the things when I talk about having the right advisors in your life. Nick's not just my friend. He's somebody whose opinion I trust highly on a lot of things. Probably trust him to a level that would make him nervous from a responsibility level. Because if he says it, I'm just like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm just going to go with that.
That seems
right?
legit.
Yeah, that's legit, right? But like when what I love that he does, and I hope that other people just saw that, was he just showed me that a year historically I know was terrifying in real estate. 2008. It was not a year I was participating in real estate. but it's a year I know is terrifying. And then just told me the year that we're currently living through looks exactly like that from an overall number standpoint. You also brought up a good point that there were programs and things to incentivize people to come back that may not exist next year. So we may be riding this out a little bit longer, right? But that information was exciting to me, not scary, because I love knowing that we're halfway through the shitty thing that's already happening before I even understood that we were in the shitty thing, right? Yeah. And that is what I believe. We said on the show a couple of weeks ago, we're deep into this already too.
Yeah.
But it is going to be on you in 2 quarters at back-to-back that are traditionally pretty slow for real estate agents anyways. And then we throw that on the tail end of a market that was really popular and people's mindset have changed. It is going to be on us as real estate agents to go out and find how the hell we're going to get through the next 5 months.
You know what? And this is part of, again, this is why we did the check-in and just seeing, it's okay if you're feeling stressed, you're feeling scared, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling the doom and gloom. It's okay to feel that way right now. And I was talking to Elizabeth this morning, and one thing that I forgot about this kind of style of market, there's 2 things. Number one is, I'm really tired of people like saying, let's not talk about the market, because that starts to become the perception from all of this. But I'm like, no, this is real life. This is freaking real life. We're in it, right? And one thing that I've really started to notice is that the amount of extra energy it takes to get deals done.
Yeah.
That's the second exhausting part. Like
that was you this morning.
Yeah. That was me last night I went to every Tuesday with our dad's group. We played pickleball, and for 45 minutes, I'm on a phone call with somebody who's just berating me about something that just is just honestly ridiculous. And, and there's more and more of those happening, right? We're having more closings getting pushed.
Yep.
We're having more unhappy clients because their house is not showing or not selling.
People not telling you the whole truth about their situation.
People not telling the whole truth about the situation, and finding out that they have maybe 1 to 2, payments left before they start to fall delinquent. And then they start getting desperate and they start to take things out on you. And I was like, that's the part I forgot.
Yeah.
It's almost like the amnesia of it that I just, block that out. And that takes a lot, because if you're not used to it, you start to internalize and you start to carry the weight of those clients' emotions.
And this was something that I've always struggled with, is taking the weight of the client's emotions. And for the past couple of years, the type of discussions or arguments you've been having with your clients they may be still corrective conversations, but they're ones that I had a solution for, right? Yep. We can go higher. We can offer, the solutions are limited right now because there's not a ton of stuff from a real estate agent's perspective that you're going to fundamentally change about the market. You're not changing the interest rates. You're not going to change the amount of buyers engaging in the market. You can change the amount of buyers engaging with your listing, with your marketing, sure. But like just the amount of people who are sitting at the table playing cards right now is less than it was. And you're not going to change that as a real estate agent. And so for me, and what I have realized, because I told you yesterday on the show, I kind of decided I was going to take October to just reset. October is traditionally a pretty slow month for me activity wise anyways. And I don't sell a ton of houses usually in November and December because of that. And so I decided to embrace that this year and just allow myself the mental space to move through all that stuff. And I'm glad I did that, but it was also with a game plan to engage quickly and dive right back in doing stuff that I used to do really well, right? Calling expired listings, not something I'm very comfortable with right now. Something I used to be pretty good at, right?
Isn't it funny how you used to be really good at it, and when you get away from it, the thought to turn that back on, you're like, yeah, I don't really like. It's almost like you've got this fear, or
1,000% fear.
It's like,
it's not like a fear, it's fear.
Yeah, but you did it well for a long time.
It's and I'll say this too, just for full transparency. For me, right now, it's just not. It's the fear of not having the answer to their question, right? It's not a fear of being yelled at. It's not a fear that other agents are calling them. And I'm past all that just from a longevity and experience standpoint. My concern is that I legitimately, we talked about this at lunch, I will make bad business decisions because they're good financial decisions for the client, right? And good karma decisions for your business. Yeah. But in this market, there are people out there who, I've got a listing right now that I think everything's correct about it. We can't get anybody to even walk through the fucking front door.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't always feel like I have the exact right answer. So it's fear of being challenged and not knowing what to say, right? But it's not from a scripting standpoint, from a, I don't really know if you can be helped or should sell or whatever, right?
I think if they're having the conversation with you, it tells me that, again, just like the client that we found out today has about 2 months of reserves to make their payment. I do believe that, especially with expireds and cancels, if they're entertaining any type of conversation about selling, they've already been on the market, they've already experienced it, that there's truly a motivation there of figuring out how to solve their problem to sell their house. They want it sold for whatever reason. And it could be that they're not telling you that really they need to cash in that equity so they have reserves that they can pay off debt. Maybe they're getting divorced. We're starting to see a lot of separation and divorces happening. And ultimately, or, they're at that point, maybe they're just a little late to the game of making decisions about, hey, we're ready to upgrade our house or get a better floor plan or to downsize. And, those are the tough clients, because usually they're living, 12 months in the past, and they're like, hey, neighbor Sally, she told me when she sold, she got multiple offers in 24 hours. And I know the market's changed a little bit, so I'm going to give you 3 days.
Yeah.
And I expect to have that thing sold for $20,000 over asking price.
Yeah. That's an opportunity. And look, that is what this market does provide. It provides you an opportunity to become a proper fiduciary, which requires tough conversations sometimes.
Yeah.
And that is some of the heightened expectations of people, allows you to have candid conversations and decide what kind of business you're going to take. Like, that's the other commonly overlooked thing in this entrepreneurial endeavor, is that, like, you do get to decide what's good and bad business. And I know that's hard when the bank account's low and you don't have any other deals. You'll take anything because you're like, let me just get a sign of the yard and I'll figure it out from there. I understand. I subscribe to that.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong.
I think that, I've always been one, I'm okay with that.
But practice setting proper expectations in that. Don't just get run roughshod and then stick a sign in the yard and then just be this meek little church mouse who won't properly advise their clients. So now it's just another person who gets thrown back into the mix, right? Like, while I appreciate that because I call cancels and expireds, for you, I don't want that.
Yeah.
No,
100%. And look, usually what ends up happening is where you're stressing out and it's hard to get mental clarity, right? It's like, it's as clear as mud.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, and I'm going to give you a lot of credit for this to that motivated me. And then David Bentnick, Bentick. I can never say it correctly.
There's like an extra hard syllable in there that always makes me want to put like a D sound in there.
Yeah, yes. I always say D.
Yeah.
But I say bent D.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. So,
and I'm sure he's been getting that.
Sure, 100%. And so, but I'll give you guys credit on that, where I needed to really get disciplined and focused. And because this is the type of market, in the market that we're going to have for a little bit, it's going to be there. We're already feeling it, which means that either we're halfway through it, maybe close to halfway through, and we still got a little bit of runway left to handle this stuff. But you need to be able to go from barely surviving to eventually thriving. And I started 75 hard.
Yep.
Right. I know that you're on day what?
73. I'm done Friday.
Oh,
I'm done. Friday is the last full day. Saturday is the first free day.
Yes. Right. And I'm day 15, I believe.
Yeah.
Day 15. And I will say that, number one, my legs are tired as shit.
Yeah.
Right. Super tired. And while it's been easier than I expected, yesterday I almost messed up on it just because I got looser with my schedule.
Yep.
And then it rained. And so I'm like, But with that, I'm starting to listen to more podcasts again. I'm getting my reading, getting more disciplined with my reading again, which has given me some clarity around, all right, getting back to discipline with my, the entrepreneurial work schedule, which is staying consistent with lead gen every day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what got us to where we were. That's what got you to where you were, and saying, all right, in this market, we need to be proactively prospecting. And if we're prospecting in the beginning, if you're uncomfortable and have a fear of rejection to call expireds, cancels, or for sale by owners, then why are we not? Go ahead and proactively prospect your database first.
Yeah.
And start to see, all right, what kind of business can you drum up from that?
Yeah.
So that 75 hard has kind of kicked me into gear of getting, back more discipline on my real estate work schedule.
That's for me, it cleared when I got really deep into it, it cleared out all the stuff I did not have time for. So, cause we got, like 13 days into it and then missed reading or some shit, like one of the smaller ones. It wasn't even the workout thing. Like at this point, I've worked out twice a day for 90 days, I think. Like I'm going on like almost 200 workouts in the past 3 months. Right. And so like what it did was I didn't have time for a bunch of wasted time. Right. And to get the workouts in with the kids and everything we need to do and pick people up and still try and work. So the thing that did get put on the back burner for me was work, which was fine because I was taught 4 or 5 years ago and struggled to implement this. My health needed to come first anyways. And for all of us, this is true, right? You're not going to be able to go out and build the business that you want. You're not going to be able to mother, father, partner that you want to be if you yourself just don't feel good. And I know there's a lot of factors in that. I'm not telling everybody go do 75 hard, but I needed to get that part of my life back on track, right? And so that's why I did it. And I think one of the cool things was it just cleared out all of the stuff I did not have time for. And then just the repetition of doing it. Now I feel like if I don't do my walk and my workout every day, I've gotten to the point now where it feels weird not to do both of them.
You built a habit and routine.
Yes.
Right.
And the shit that I used to do, right? Go have a couple of drinks at lunch or like eating Skittles until 11 o'clock at night, or even dining out. Dining out's been the biggest thing because of the diet part. Like I don't even really I found out that without a vodka tonic, I don't particularly like restaurant food. Right. Yeah. Like I just don't, the experience for me is about the ambiance and the whole thing. And you take one part of that away and I'm like, okay, well then I'm just not going to go, and I'll keep my money from that and my salt intake and all these other things. So I accidentally got even more financially and physically healthy just by doing this in ways I didn't even see.
Yeah.
And that's what it opened my eyes to, was the unseen benefits of discipline, how those are the multipliers. It's not the 4 or 5 things that you're able to blow off in your mind, right? Like, okay, I get if I drink some more water, I'll be more hydrated, I'll sleep better. What does sleeping better really mean? And how does it affect all these other things? And that was the part that became undeniable halfway through, was I'm actually changed about 20 or 30 things about my life by doing these 3 or 4 disciplined things.
What do you believe? And there's something that, we created with, there's No Shave November.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Sober October.
Yeah. Sober October, no shave. No shave November. I wonder if that's when you go from sober October, you're like, screw it, I'm just going to drink in November, and I'm not even going to shave.
Yeah.
Right?
There's probably some other ones. These are just the dude ones we know about.
Yeah, there's some other no.
Yeah, there's some other no something.
No Novembers in there.
I don't know.
Yeah, what is that, Jesse? Tell us.
I don't know that one.
You say you participate.
I do not subscribe to that one.
Yeah, but with it, it's we started talking about. It's like, all right, I'm 15 days into this, and I'm usually pretty disciplined on all of it, but again, during COVID and the rest, you start to slip on your discipline. And it's like, what if we created a no excuse November?
Yeah.
Right. So no excuse November, where it's designed for your business, and it's taking, some type of action every single day and creating an accountability group. So one thing that, for the 75 hard, what I've noticed is when posting it, I mean, that seems like all my, my database, my sphere, but people that know, like, trust, and love me, we talk about that more often than anything else.
Yeah.
They're like, how did you get your workouts in?
Yeah.
God, 2 workouts. That's good. What about, the diet plan? You can just pick any diet. Like, they talk about that more than anything else.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's been my experience too.
Yeah. So it gives an opportunity for conversation and people to cheer you on. I know, like David, texted me on Sunday, one of the weekends, is either Saturday or Sunday, and he's like, bro, don't slip up.
Yeah.
Because he didn't see me post, any of my workouts or anything like that. And so you start to build this kind of accountability group. Mm-hmm. And so yesterday you and I were talking, it's like, how do we take this, because agents need help with their business. They need help with accountability. It's when you start getting into this rut, and you should be doing these things, you're like, I'll do it tomorrow. Right. You start to work yourself up, and you start to hype yourself up. And then, tomorrow comes and you wake up and you're like, I'm just not feeling it.
Yep.
And you just start to feel the weight, and it's bearing down on your chest, and you just can't move or take action. Right. Even though you need to be doing
Absolutely.
it. And that you have no money coming in, and you're like, you know what? I'm just so depressed or I'm so bummed out. It's mentally exhausting how much I'm thinking about how I'm not doing anything, that it then causes you not to do it. And then you're like, man, that's I've got a little bit more money. That's future Nick's problem. That's future Matt's problem. And then in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you start to burn some more cash. And you get into this.
This is going faster than I thought it would.
Yeah. And you start to get into this desperation mode.
Yeah.
And you like, it's almost like you're cracked out.
Well, and let's be honest. This isn't the market for I need a quick check either, because this is what can be a problem for real estate agents, especially after coming off the market that we just got. If you haven't realized since May of last year, time's going up. Like if you're saying like, hey, I'm 120 days away from being in real money trouble, you need a listing or a buyer, and you need them in the next 30 to 45 days for you to have a check coming in 90 to 120 in a lot of scenarios, because days on market are going up and things like that.
Yeah. And so every Tuesday we have our team meeting. And we talked about on this one, and it was purposeful on it, or the right time. I'll call it the right timing of the message, which it was talking about prospecting.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't talk about that because, for the longest time, the Good Home Team was known for just being aggressive prospectors, calling spot. We're like, our agents are calling, 300 to 500 dials a day, 5 days a week.
I still see you guys that way.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
But, as we grew and evolved and as the market shifted, they changed into, heavy agent referrals, heavy, sphere and database, which is great.
Yeah.
We love that. But, and we've got a lot of new team members that haven't had that prospect grind mentality. And so, we were talking about in prospecting of identifying who you're going to call. And a lot of times what ends up happening, there's really there's 4 reasons why, most people don't prospect. Number 1 is fear of rejection.
Yep.
Right. Number 2 is they don't know who to call. Number 3 is they don't know what to say. And I can't remember the 4th one now. Time blocking. That's what it was. Time blocking. Right. And as I'm going through it, the epiphany of that was all 3, 2 through 4, all led to the reason of number 1, which is fear of rejection.
Yes.
Right. If you eliminate fear of rejection, then it'd be a lot easier to figure out who to call. If you eliminate fear of rejection, you eliminate, the fear of, I don't know what to say. If you eliminate rejection, then you're like, all right, I'm going to time block for it.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to time block for something that you're fearful of.
Yeah.
Right. So you're going to let that go. You're like, make calls tomorrow, Matt. Tomorrow comes. Yeah.
I've said it here many times.
I
love a Monday, baby.
Yeah.
I can push anything to a Monday.
Yeah. I'm just, you know what? Tomorrow, man, I'm just not in the mood today. I'm not in the mood to have that conversation. And so, from that, it's like, having these thoughts and understanding is like, number 1, what's always confused me, by the way, and utilizing your, as we check in on your business and how rates have affected, rates are the number 1 reason, of kind of the driving force behind this. And there's this Twitter account, or X account, I guess now we have to say, called Unusual Whales. And they post a lot of just stats. And this stat said that 64% of Americans would welcome a recession if it meant lower mortgage rates, per the USA Today.
Yep.
And I'm like, 64% would welcome that recession just to get into lower interest rates.
Yeah.
And
do you think that's because people don't understand the implications of the word recession, how many people lose their jobs, which conversely means X amount of people die? You know what I mean? Because
what they're not thinking is them losing their job.
That's exactly where I was going with that. The reason that's 64% is because the recession happens to somebody else. Every single one of those 64 out of 100 people, that recession is not happening.
So I would love for that.
It's happening to someone else.
That would be a great follow-up survey question.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, so 64% is in favor of recession so that we can get lower interest rates. Now, out of those who said they're in favor, would you approve of a recession just to get lower rates if you were one of the people affected by the recession, meaning loss of job,
yes,
lower income, and to see how many people would say yes to that?
I'm assure you that number will change very much when people apply this detrimental, terrible thing to their own life.
Correct. And to sit here and say, you understand what would happen right now if we started to get back into lower interest rate territory. By the way, I am one that has been affected by higher interest rates, By selling, I had a development under contract that we were selling that now is dead in the water because rates went up during the negotiation process, and it changed the restructuring, and it needed to be retraded at a lower price than what the development made sense to sell it for. And so absolutely, we're all affected by higher rates. But the way I see it, again, if we're looking at money changes hands when problems are solved, the silver lining is the last 3 years, it was harder for the average buyer to get into a house. And so is it still harder today? Sure, because we have some questions and some current concerns about really the affordability issue, but buyers should be taking advantage of where the opportunity lies, which is you can negotiate right now. Mm-hmm. It is cheaper. Technically, it's cheaper to buy a brand new construction home than it is buy a pre-owned home, especially with the way the incentives and the interest rate buy downs are happening for new construction builders. Yep. And the offerings. And second is like being able to come in and just say, hey, I can actually get a 6% interest rate right now. I can come in and ask for concessions. I've got a listing right now that, that went under contract, and the seller is giving, it was like $17,500 in seller concessions. So the buyer, who's a first-time home buyer, that's couch surfing right now. Yep. Right. They're super stoked to get into this new home of theirs, and they're buying the interest rate down.
Yeah. There are solutions to these problems. I heard this somewhere the other day, and I won't be able to give the actual author credit because it was somebody requoting somebody, but it's like there's no actual like problems being solved. You're just making trade-offs, right? Like the trade-off for that person is maybe they have a bit of a higher interest rate, but they have the stability of a home, right? Like they have the stability of owning something that they're not just giving the landlord every month, right? Like there's trade-offs to everything. So I say to people who are just looking for everything to be 100% in their favor, and I know this, I'm not saying this market is that, because you were saying interest rates coming down. I don't even think they need to come down insane for people to re-engage. I think at this point, if the damn thing started with a 6 again, we'd see people coming out of the woodwork.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's not even like we need them at 2.5 or 3. And you brought up a situation you talked about earlier. We're starting to see the beginnings of what that looks like. But again, to those 64% of people, that means people have to lose their jobs. We're seeing people getting laid off. We're seeing white collar jobs getting laid off. We're seeing people in executive positions getting laid off. Like that stuff's going to continue. Yep. That's what's going to bring interest rates down. So for everybody who wants lower interest rates, I'm not saying you have to care about the other man. Just understand that comes with a lot of other shit being traded off for that. Yeah. And you might be the one who falls in that negative side of that trade-off in order to get those lower interest rates.
Yeah.
And I know this show isn't to consumers. I'm just saying, also agents understand that going into these conversations, understand that like that is part of having a firmer conversation with somebody. These are things that why would the average American understand what it takes for interest rates to come down? You should have a general light understanding of that and be able to explain it to somebody when they're coming at you with things that might be detrimental to their finances, right? And then you have to be able to go and find the people, because they're not going to reach out to you, right? Unless you are actively running ads and things like that. Just understand this isn't the market where people are going to be like, oh, hey, I saw Matt's YouTube video. He's the guy I need, right? Like some of us are spending time on the wrong type of marketing right now, because that's just not how necessary. Do that as a secondary thing, but you may need to just be straight calling people or doing open houses right now instead of worrying about your YouTube content and your descriptions.
And that's exactly what I advised on our team meeting call, which was, again, you need, if you're feeling that your funds are low, right? What is Kelderman saying on the shirt we're going to start selling?
When funds are low, shit must go.
That's right. When funds are low, shit must go. And, I was having a conversation with an agent, funds are running low. And I said, all right, you've had success in the past. Where have you been successful? Well, I've been successful in calling expireds, canceled, for sale by owner. So I say, okay, how much of that have you been doing versus making, content videos? Well, not as much. I've been making more videos. I said, okay, cool. Where's that getting you for the right now business? Well, it's not. And now we're having this conversation about, funds are starting to get a little scarce and a little tight. And I said, okay, if you were to go look for a deal right now, where would you go? And the low-hanging fruit is the people that have already raised their hand and said, Matt, if you can bring me a buyer that's willing to pay this price, I'm looking at selling. Now we just have to work in commissions. We have to work in the fee, the payment, and understand what's their motivation in selling, and does it make sense price-wise. I said, you've already got people. And that was something that I learned in 2008, 2009 is like, I'm not getting this, I'm not getting, my sphere and database to really use me right now because market sucks,
Yeah.
right? They're losing their job. They're not making as much money, right? Jessica Lynch just said less influencing, more working. That
is the quippy little one-liner right there.
Can we have that? Jessica can have her own shirt in the Tour Studio.
I know. We still got a podcast with them, by the way, because they got a badass podcast too.
Yeah.
But
less influencing, more working.
That's exactly it. And I think that goes into what kind of the no nonsense November thing about. It's just a way to strategically get yourself back in a little bit of alignment, right? For those of us, and I say us because I'm one of them, who have not been engaging during this right now for whatever reason, whether it's fear, whether it's strategic disengagement for your mindset, whatever it is, it's time to get to work. Because here's what I'm going to tell you, even when doing this, you are going to feel the slow burn of Q4 and Q1, right? Like even you are like this time of year is generally a little quieter for most agents anyways. And you're doing it at a time where it's deservedly quiet. So like, just know that like so much of this, like the 75 hard, I can lie about the 75 hard any day I want to. I can lie any day. I can click the little button. I can take a picture. I can do whatever. I can, and nobody would ever know. Even saying this right now, nobody knows if I skipped a thing one day and just didn't tell anybody. Here is the
sounds
thing.
like you're telling us that you
no,
did.
It comes down to personal integrity, and this is where it goes, and this is what the no nonsense November is about. There's no way for anybody to prove whether or not you show up, right? This just comes down to, are you really worried, scared enough of this market to do something about it for yourself and whoever else is attached to you? Or is it easier for you to continue to hide behind the excuses, which are valid but don't matter, and hide behind the interest rates and hide behind those things and just say, hey, it's really hard. I'm going to catch this back in the spring? Because I don't think there's a lot of people who have the funds to make it to the spring.
No.
Right?
No.
And so that's what we kind of want to bring, right? Is like this idea around these four major ways that we think right now you can get yourself back in alignment. It's focusing on your health a little bit, your business, your love for others in gratitude, and and just and taking those things into your everyday, even your Saturday and Sunday, and figuring out a way to steal directly from the 75 hard. And I know we talked about this the other day, but like finding a way to get a 45-minute workout in, even if it's just going for a walk. You would be shocked at how much that will just allow your body, and do it whenever, right? Like figure out a way to do that. Figure out a way.
There's been times I got it in at 10:30 at night.
Yeah. And like, here's the thing is you feel really accomplished. You feel very accomplished after getting that difficult thing in.
The only thing I'm not looking forward to is it's starting to get cold next week.
It is.
And I'm like, gosh,
it is.
Like this is the only time that I'm okay with it being muggy or a little bit warmer when I can still wear shorts and just a pullover. But that's going to be the test.
Yes.
And like you said, you never know who's going to cheat or not. And it takes integrity on it. But when it comes to the no nonsense, no excuse November, and really going over the 4 pillars, the health, wealth, gratitude, and growth.
Yeah.
And executing on those 4 pillars every single day.
Yes.
Right. For 30 days.
For 30 days. So November 1 is next Wednesday, I believe. Or maybe it's Tuesday, whatever. It's 6 or 7 days from now.
It's next Wednesday.
Yeah, it's next Wednesday. And so, and Nick and I had kind of imposed this for ourselves, and we're inviting anybody who wants to do this to join along. And so the health part of it, it's a 45-minute workout every day, right?
It doesn't matter inside out. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Just get it in. The wealth or / business side of it, it is an hour of prospecting every day. And look, here's the thing. I know we get told by Keller Williams and by EXP and every prospect on the planet, 3 hours a day. Most of us just aren't doing that right now. Don't go in the gym and try and break your personal record on the bench. Yep. Let's just get back in and do a little warm-up set in November, right? But here's the thing is, this is every day. This is not Monday through Friday. So on Saturday and Sunday, you better figure out a way to get an hour of lead generation in. And that can be open houses. That can be a lot of stuff, but this is every day. The growth part, and I'm personally most excited about this one, is just journaling this whole experience, right? You would be shocked at how much in the times of my life when I've been consistent in journaling, how much is opened up to me. And then on the on the
Gratitude.
on the gratitude side, legitimate thankfulness for 3 people a day. It can be the barista, it can be somebody that you reach out to, it can be anyone, but go out of your way to compliment, to say thank you. Victoria is amazing about this. She has like 20 pairs of glasses. She gets complimented about her glasses all the time and the way she dresses. People love it. And she pays that forward all the time. I'll be like just swiping my card at the grocery store line. She's just complimenting people around her. And she's also one of the like bubbliest people I know as well. So I'm going to assume it works. Just be grateful for 3 people and vocalize that to them a day. And if your December 1st doesn't look more bright and sunny than your November 1 after that, I would be shocked, because I think that would
then
go
that
a long
means
ways.
you probably didn't follow the 4.
You probably didn't get all the way where you wanted to, or had something disrupt you for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, action beats non-action every day of the week.
Yes. And in this, even if it's just the 1 hour a day is the only thing devoted to your business, I just promise you, by making a promise to yourself and fulfilling it all the way to the end. Oh, there I am. I promise that by making a promise to yourself and fulfilling it all the way to the end, you absolutely will gain more clarity around your business and life. You will love yourself a little bit more, which is the most important part of all of this. Because at the end of the day, even if you are shit at real estate and this whole thing falls apart, you are going to be okay. Like, you're going to be okay.
You know what I just realized? This is a side note,
Sure.
is that when Jesse leaves the camera on me too long, and you probably feel the same way, and you're done talking.
Yeah.
You're like, you don't want to move.
Yeah. You're like,
right?
I'm going to hold still for the cut. And there we go.
And yeah, I'm like, all right, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah.
Like, and we're most like, we are comfortable on lives. It's like, why am I worried about it?
Because there's such a flow. Like, part of this is 200 episodes into, there's a flow to the conversation, even a flow to the camera switching.
Yeah.
And
most of the time you guys leave a pause too, or there's like a filler statement from the other person before I switch over.
Before you switch over. I also I think I hold it just involuntarily for the camera to switch. Be like, everybody will think it's frozen. If I just sit here and sit still.
But I look at it, and it's just the conversation of like, when I would go back to, and this is the less influencing, more working type. But I look at, your videos can be work. It's just, that should be your side hustle.
I think it's your side. I think videos are your side piece right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Like the right now business, open houses, canceled, expired, for sale by owners. That's your main channel.
And do you know how, so if you kept that side hustle of doing videos and talking about the market, I did ask one thing, and I was listening to a podcast the other day. It's called the Money Monday podcast.
Okay.
And they had Gary Vaynerchuk on, and, Gary was talking about, just using AI and how cool is it right now that you can get pretty much the answers to anything in seconds. And so, I was like, all right, how do we use this to our advantage? And so I just went into ChatGPT and said, I was like, what is it actually smart to buy a home in today's market? It says whether it's smart to buy a home in today's market depends on a variety of factors, including your personal financial situation, goals, and the local real estate conditions. Here are some considerations. Number 1 is affordability. Number 2, long-term plans. Number 3, market conditions. Number 4, interest rates. Number 5 is the rent versus buy analysis. Number 6, down payment. Number 7, future expenses. 8 is investment goals. 9 is personal preference. Number 10 is you should consult and seek a real estate professional. But I said, why should I buy instead of renting? And it talks about building equity, investment potentials. I'm like, there is so much stuff in here. Like
content that's 15 videos.
Content. And at the same time, this is conversational pieces that I can have while on the phone.
Yes.
And some of these things, if we go back to really the 4 reasons why people don't call or prospect or lead generate at a high level, is they're like, I don't know what to say. What do I say to people? I'm like, do you not know how to have a conversation? What do you think the number 1 conversational piece is at this moment? Mm-hmm. How's the market? How's interest rates? Interest rates freaking suck, right? Great, have that conversation. You know what, Matt? It does. Interest rates are definitely a lot higher, and that sucks. But if you're looking at buying a home, Matt, you want to know why this higher rate is actually really good for you if you're a home buyer. Mm-hmm. Well, no, definitely. Like, you just go into that, right? And or I'm seeing a lot of first-time home buyers who understand the rates are high, but they're tired of paying rent, because while their mortgage payment is going to be definitely higher than their rental payment right now, they are seeing that rent is still going up. They are seeing that they're not getting anything out of it.
We were just talking about this at lunch. My mom has been in a house that she rents, and she's going on like 8 years or something, right? By the time this lease is up, it'll be at 10 years. And it's her landlord, who is not a great landlord. He does not take care of this house at a high level. It's got foundation issues. She does a ton of the damn repairs herself, all kinds of stuff, right? But at the end of the day, this landlord doesn't have to go through the experience for figuring out his truth by going out back into this market and having to relist this house in its current condition, or spend the money to fix it up, then relist it to see if he even gets the rent that he's charging her, right? And I think that's what we're seeing a lot of on as people are vacating properties on the rental side. And my mom doesn't have an interest in buying. That's just not what she wants to do at this point in her life. She's fine with renting. But even she has gotten to a point where the rent doesn't make any sense. And she is looking for alternative solutions when this comes up, because
the rent's too damn high.
It's just too high. And at least if you are paying for something that you own, there is some light at the end of the tunnel with it. There's no light at the end of the tunnel for her. She continues to pay more for a house that is deteriorating. And more landlords have became that way. Right. So I don't know. I need to call him for Homeward and straighten him up.
In New York, there's a political party. The rent is too damn high party. It's a single issue political party primarily active in the state of New York.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, rents have
get them on the
high
ballot.
rent's always been a problem, right?
Yeah.
But it talks about in ChatGPT, there's some talking points there. Like you have, what your payment's going to be and stuff like that. So, so here it is. The no nonsense, no excuse November starts next week, November 1st. So what Kelderman's going to do, a couple of things. If you are wanting to take action, you're wanting to just, let's say, like, look, just let's get your butt into gear, right? And you're willing to sign up. You're ready for that accountability. Comment in this, a message, but go over to the Only Real Estate group worth being a part of. It's in Facebook, and just join that. We'll post it in there as well
tomorrow.
And start to really, go over the details of that. And if you could do us a favor, I really would like to start asking favors again. Is can you go leave us reviews?
Yeah.
Right. If you can go on our YouTube channel, subscribe. It's obviously is it Tor Studios or the Only Real Estate Podcast on YouTube?
On YouTube, I think it's still Tor. I'll check.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, just search the Only Real Estate Podcast we're listening to on YouTube. Go ahead, subscribe. You make some comments, like it, but leave us a review on any podcast app. One thing I did notice, and we're probably not going to work on this because this is part of our spiel, that there's one review that gave us a 3-star that says that we talk too much in the beginning. And
I don't go read our reviews, but whoever you are, you're a dick.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's good information. They just
it's a podcast. Go away.
Like, I just fast forward through some of their conversations.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
Yeah. I'm like, you know what? It's legitimate, real information. We're not trying to sell any shit. We're not trying to say we've tried the 4 reasons why X, Y, Z, and it's like, look, that's fun and that's good and all, but this is legitimate. You get to hear kind of, the reservations we're having. You kind of hear like this, what our thought process is. We do talk too damn much, and we're going to start making this.
That's coming from somebody who talks too damn much.
We're going to start doing 5-minute podcast.
Done.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Tor Studios.
Yeah.
Talk too damn much.
Talk too damn much. Go support our sponsors. Look,
Katie says we talk too much. Look at her previous comment.
Yeah, it's too long to read. It's too long to read. And if you think that you want us to talk shorter, right? Just go support our sponsors, and our sponsors will tell us, and we'll start talking shorter. If you go support them, just go to Mortgage Mike. So mmgloans.com, the Mortgage Mike group, and tell him that you want that Mortgage Mike stamp of approval. He's licensed in Texas and Oklahoma to just sling all that money around. And then, like we said, like you're doing it, you need that home warranty by Armadillo Home Warranty. You want that hard shell protection. Just go to armadillo.one/Tor, TORE. And then if you got some rentals, right? Maybe you got some clients wanting to rent. I had a guy hit me up yesterday. He's like, hey, you remember me? I said, yes, Wahid, I remember you. You're in my phone. Last time we talked was 2016. He's like, I got another rental. I'm like, bro, it's been a long time. What you been doing? He's like, are you still doing this? I said, we got you. And so he's going to send that detail over. We'll send it over to Homeward. So homewarddfw.com. Talk to Dana Wynn. And then I do believe that if you are going to spend money in this market, the smart way to spend money is to have a show and to have a video with video in it.
Yep.
Right. That way you can repurpose. You can have an audio podcast. That's great. And then you can use the video content. Again, I was playing pickleball last night with the dads group, and one of the guys was like, you know what we need to see more of? We need to see more of the reels, because when I see some of the reels and it interests me, then I go watch the podcast. Right. So that's great. Yeah, it's great feedback and something that we probably should all implement. So you do need to have a show. Just get with Jesse over at torstudios.com.
Well, you can just go to ChatGPT, ask for all that stuff, literally record that and chop it up to a million pieces of content. Like, I mean, that is one thing that I'm always sleeping on with ChatGPT is I can just ask it a question and get all of the ideas I freaking need. And I don't know why that doesn't enter my brain more.
Yep. You should do that and just get with Jesse. He'll help record it, make it look good. And then I think it's time to get out of here.
I think it is, man. I just want everybody to know that you are doing super awesome. And this market's scary, but
thank you, man.
All right.
I appreciate that.
Nick, he's fine. He gets to hang out with me, so he's good.
That's right. He's a celebrity.
I know. Brian will be back next week, probably.
Maybe.
We'll see. Maybe one of us won't be here.
All right, let's get out of here.
Bye.
Hey, thank you for watching. We truly appreciate it. Checking out another episode of the Only Real Estate Podcast worth listening to. If you're watching this on YouTube, please go ahead, hit that share button, hit that like button, and hit the subscribe button. Right? We're dropping more stuff on YouTube constantly. If you're on iTunes, leave us a review, please. We're really, really focused on building up those reviews so we can get more searchable content on there. And if you're on Facebook, like everyone else is, go over and search the Only Real Estate Group worth being a part of. You're going to want to go join that group. I'm telling you right now, there's so much gold in there. So go join, share us on YouTube, and leave us that iTunes review, please. Go do it right now. We'll see you on the next show.